Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Jim Walmsley. It's the day after the 2023 UTMB, and you're the men's champion. Congratulations, Jim.
Thanks so much. Yeah, pretty surreal right now.
Yeah, how does that feel? This is a goal that I think has been on your mind for quite some time.
Yeah, it's impossible to wrap up, I think, and so much is still soaking in. But I think what I'm looking forward to, and I hope it hits, but a bit of relief maybe.
Yeah. You've had a multi-year relationship with UTMB.
Yeah.
There have been some high highs and then also some low lows. Yesterday, however, seemed so even keel, like at least maybe from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
Perhaps
a little bit.
Perhaps for the lowness, that's where some perspective and experiences really come into play. So what I felt was a low and I knew was a low, maybe is I was able to keep it more even keeled than where in years past maybe it would dissolve a bit more.
Got it. Let's backtrack a little bit, maybe to this day last year. You had, prior to last year's UTMB, sort of dedicated your life to being over here in France, and then you got to the finish line, probably not in the time or the finishing place that you wanted.
Yeah.
Another year passed. Like, can you fill in a little bit of that gap in time between then and now? Because I think a lot changed.
Well, a lot was decided, I've said it before, but a lot was decided in the last 50K as I was just kind of suffering and trying to hold on. And
this is last year.
Last year, yeah. 50K this year
well,
was very different.
I suffered this year too.
This is the type of suffering you really want on a good day.
Okay.
This year, but last year was suffering in a bad way and just trying to save anything. As what felt like just the whole peloton was going to come riding by. I mean, it's been a lot of patience and trying to keep focused, but also try to take pressure off and not keep focused, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Didn't run in the winter. I skied. Tried not to get injured doing that. Yeah. So trying not to go to, which I think when people see videos that will come out eventually, they're like, wow, Jim, you don't need to worry about skiing too fast. Like, you just need to worry about just not falling at any moment.
That's amazing.
I mean, yeah, I definitely started with a very terrible skier into just a bad skier, maybe. But then you go to skills learned with some of the skimo stuff, the technical aspects of gear management, where things go, pockets, little outfit changes, and this and that. I mean,
all the things that, like, your career in running, you didn't do a ton of that. Like,
UTMB is the most complicated it gets. Yeah. For a lot of ultra runners. So when you go, it's like, wow, UTMB, I have so much stuff everywhere, whereas you use perspective. So again, it's a process of changing my perspective to change to grow into maybe it's more manageable than you once thought. So yeah, I could see some of those skills pay off. And then, but I still wasn't in UTMB yet at the time with the rules and this and that. Yeah. So yeah, the year kicked off at Istria 100 mile, which was cool. That race went really well. A little bit similar of a feeling in that I tried to stay patient and take care of myself through harder parts of the course. And it doesn't, I'm actually not feeling great when I'm trying to stay patient. But then finally when I said it's time to go, my legs just got excited and woke up, and I was able to run really well at the end of Istria, and kind of Istria is the most similar race experience that I've had to this one, where just the last 50, 60K, different pair of legs. I don't know.
Isn't that strange how that happens?
I'm glad it did happen that way. But it also just might be something it's called pacing and race management, and it's maybe supposed to feel more like that.
This is how it's supposed to go if you do that.
Yeah, because lots of my Western states, I just start clicking early, no worries, and sometimes it's fine throughout most of it. But other times, like 2021, like I was falling apart just like everyone else. Just, oh my gosh, I need to get to Auburn. And yeah, it's hard to do it that way.
Yeah. Did you have like a little wobble with injury between Istria and UTMB? Was there something that you were dealing with?
Yeah, so the very beginning of May, I rolled my ankle pretty bad. Then took a few days, took a few days off. There's a longer story to everything. Okay. Took a few days off, went right back into training the next week. And like basically, I could tell after a week, the reaction of being able to get the swelling down, but it just coming back. There was something deeper wrong with it, that it just wasn't a turn. And so there were 2 partial torn ligaments and 1 complete tear.
Oh, wow.
But out of all things, in May.
Huh.
And essentially, I got really lucky with the ligament that did tear. I guess it's a small one, and it's not it's a stabilizing one and non-intrusive for it to heal. So best case scenario. But then it went to the risk of, even if I could train on the bike and show up for the World Championships, with having a bit of problems in the ankle of stability, if one of the other like partial tear ligaments went, it would be the year done immediately. So it just went to risk is high. We need to shut it down now to basically like start planning. And then essentially I started adding up the weeks, and I think I calculated 1 week to spare. I had 1 leisure week, but maybe I didn't, because last Friday my legs were not feeling good at all. And then finally things came around this week. So maybe I had 0 weeks to spare, and things just clicked in time, and I was able to get the like medical support info that I needed here in France. And then we went back to Flagstaff at the same time, and I got some help there.
Oh, awesome.
So things worked out. Yeah.
Your ankle healed up enough that I think you put in a pretty good training block ahead of UTMB.
Yeah, it's all secret.
Yeah, I know, it is. Little rumors floating around the mountains.
Yeah, I don't know which rumors, but I think usually when I've tried to keep some things kind of private, when you have a good day or something interesting, you're like, I can't do it, I'm gonna post it. And this year I actually finally just no, good days, nothing, just bad days, nothing. And I was like, it's kind of nice, because there's just no noise, and yeah, you get a little forgotten, everyone thinks you're hurt and you had an injury, so they're like, what's going on? Or I didn't even get questions, what's going on? You're just not even in a thought for a bit, and you go, oh yeah, what's happening with Jim? And like, I don't know, and that's about it. So it was nice. I think with a lot of things this year, I just tried to keep things quiet, focused on myself more than anything. And I do not plan on making any of it the norm, and even more so probably opposite, in that with finally being able to win UTMB, it actually maybe feels like I can share more and just give more time back.
There's a balance, isn't there, where sometimes you need like monk mode, but also like we need each other too, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, if I give a lot of time and effort and do everything, the race week, which it's a circus here, the week of Chamonix. Exactly, and you walk into town and you're just like, oh, I'm the monkey, dance clown, and like, great. So, and it evolves so quick, because most tasks are very easy, but when you start adding it all together, and to come into Chamonix, out of Chamonix, into Chamonix, out of Chamonix,
there's your day gone.
Energy, sometimes you just, energy sucking. So, I just tried to make more decisions, to be selfish in that aspect, and just, it all goes into the bigger picture of moving here and this and that, of wanting to just try to do things the right way as best I could for myself. And so I stuck with that so that I don't have regret. So if things didn't work out, if things fell apart, if I didn't win, there's nothing I'm upset about that way. I know I made the right decisions for myself, and it just didn't work. Whereas if I did give everything and I was saying yes to everything, and then things don't work out, you go, well, did you really put everything into it? Where This year I definitely simplified things more into just trying to focus on the goal.
Yeah. The race itself. For me, watching you, there seemed to be a different expression, like in your eyes and on your face at this race. You seemed like quite calm, whereas like there's just a lot of excitement here. Did you feel calm about UTMB this year?
Yeah. I mean, when I first showed up in Chamonix, I actually started to get some race nerve stuff.
Did you?
I mean, we kind of say we live in a rush because it's not Chamonix and that it's very tranquil and quiet and peaceful comparatively. Where here, there's a buzz, there's an energy, there's ultra fans and ultra runners, one and the same everywhere. Yeah. Race week, and even Chamonix is really cool to experience. Not around UTMB week. So a little bit when we first arrived, but things just kind of got more normalized. It's all things I've done many times now, so all of that stuff, is normalized. Yeah.
In the race itself, like watching you move through aid stations and you just seemed like it was like, I know my way around here. I know what I want. I know what I need. There was like the quick efficiency, but also not like the, oh my gosh, the panic of the aid station type of thing. Yeah. Did it feel that way for you too?
I think it's the best without a doubt, it's the best my aid stations have gone here.
Hot damn.
But in general, it's probably one of the things I've always been the worst at, of the amount of time I concede at aid stations, and just seeing how strong everyone was last year, and how much, and I was still giving them time at aid stations of like, we need to make them work harder in the running and not give the free time away. Yeah. But then it goes to organization and really having a plan, and that's where like having Jess be my crew, we can talk about it, we can organize it better, and so it becomes premeditated what you're doing and tick, tick, tick straight through. So it worked out good that way. So yeah, I'm really happy with how aid stations went this year, and I don't feel like I gave a chance to lose the race there.
In terms of like the men's competition, it seemed like things sort of went out fairly standard early on, like first 40, 50K. The men's race was moving like at course record pace. There was a lot of dudes there, seemingly somebody always pace setting, but right at record pace. Yeah,
I mean, pace, effort, everything you expect from UTMB. Yeah. Sub 6 minute mile pace, like almost 340K for the first 10K.
Are we talking Ks?
Both, yeah, okay. But 6 minute pace. Yeah. You're under 6 minute pace in some of the miles to begin with. And I remember Petter going like, I wasn't expecting it to start this fast. I'm like, well, you got 3,000, you stop or run any slower, you get stampeded. You have to. But yeah, you try to moderate that. And even like this year was like last year, I started several rows back in the start corral, and I really enjoyed just, there's not so much pressure, it's nice. And so I tried to do that a little bit starting, so.
Okay, so the men's competitions, went out pretty standard.
Yeah. And we almost had the same pack as last year.
Yeah.
We were missing Killian, but we were running faster, and again, it was a Anglo-speaking front pack to chase. And having the French chase the English, you're like, we've seen this play out so many times.
This feels super familiar right now. And then also, like, as is standard tradition for UTMB, things got strung out in the night in Italy, where, some people sort of extended things on the climbs and others extended things on the descents. What was that like for you this year?
I think a bit more perspective has changed with Italy and Courmayeur and Grand Col Ferret, and just where my mindset is of that being in the race. And probably the biggest thing is just saying it almost doesn't matter there. It's more preserving myself, making sure I'm not getting myself in too much trouble trying to, but at the same time, during this race, literally thinking like I'm in trouble.
Really?
Yeah,
oh,
for
that's
sure.
so interesting.
But that goes where it's the experience, and where on the outside it totally looks like the even keel thing, but like, oh, I was thinking in Switzerland, how many people are gonna, like, what's going on behind, because
come back behind you,
there's gonna be, it's just gonna be a big sufferfest to hold on for. I don't know how many places I'm gonna give up. I mean, those thoughts were going through my mind down Grand Col Ferret, the descent, as every split I was getting of Zach in front of me. Zach's pulling ahead, and I was not feeling good, but I also knew muscularly my quads felt really good. So one thought was, if I could get things under control, there was a hope I clung on to that things could click. And I think I've talked about it with some people too, is that a belief that if I do have that energy, if I do have that sort of feeling in my legs, that an advantage I have over what I think everyone in ultra running at the moment is a special ability to attack an uphill, attack a downhill, and really put in one big push to make a significant chunk and a big speed difference. I think you could argue Kilian has a bit of that skill and versatility of short distance, long distance. So a bit of dreaming that could happen kind of kept me trying to hang in there.
And I think that's actually what did happen ultimately. Like you, I believe, came upon behind Zach while pushing the bovine climb. Is that right? Okay.
Well, first Germain caught me just before.
Oh, I don't think I did. Okay.
He passed me.
Okay, yep.
But he passed me, and he was he looked a little rough, and I was like, I know I look the same, but internally I actually felt better than that. So I was like, well, I got to stay with him. And then just at the end of the climb into the aid station, I'm like, well, I'll push through and get a couple seconds to take a couple seconds extra in the aid station. And then I was initially thinking I needed a big pause, reset, like we need to start plugging the holes in the boat right now. We're taking on water. And but then I was just thinking, Shaman's getting ready to leave. I just need to follow him. And essentially I was able to get in some calories, food, repack. You get rid of a lot of your night stuff and your pack's a bit lighter. Change shoes, had just a different feeling with things, and all of a sudden when we got running again, things were different.
What do you think that was? Like, just
I mean, part of what woke it up, I mean, obviously Germain in that moment was, it was a definitely bookmark moment for me in the race.
Thanks, Germain.
Yeah. and part of it's being out here, knowing him and Katie, and having a nice feeling of Zach and Germain and so many other athletes here are friends. Like, so I saw him on one switchback below because I didn't know who was behind me, closing on me. And I finally see it's Germain, and we're close enough to make eye contact, and I just look back and smile and salut. And so it's different feelings, and it's less like aggressive or anything, so it's almost a positivity thing that it's good perspective. And then it might have been the flat asphalt a little bit. All of a sudden the legs opened up, and it's like, things are okay. So that's when it started to change. And then there was a big switchback in the mountain where I didn't know what Zach was wearing at the time, but because there's so many spectators everywhere. But I actually saw someone moving, and I was like, I think that's Zach. And so sometimes when I see something like that, I take my own split, so I bookmark what time it is, and then when I get there, I knew I was just over 4 minutes back, and I was like, I knew I was 9 minutes back. I just caught 5 of like, I'm clawing back. I'm clawing back. And then I could tell soon people were telling me 3 minutes, 2 minutes. And I was like, things are coming. And then one debate was whether to sit and settle, or maybe the mental side of just attacking straight from the beginning. And it's kind of cool thinking back on the race that, especially last year, Zach and I spent a lot of time together at the front of the race. But this year, just no settling together. We're working together early when first 50, 60, 70K sort of thing. A bit when you just kind of, there's no point going faster. But lots of gloves off and just nothing holding anything back. And like when Zach passed me, he was gone, and I luckily got to return the favor.
Yeah. But it's also like, it's a different race too, because it seemed like just you and Zach were almost different runners at this race this year. Like you had all of the both of you had all of the things to win yesterday. Just you this time by several more minutes, or however you want to look at it. The two of you were different runners this year than last year, both of you. We've both struggled fading late in this race, and it was almost a little bit of guilt that you take something away from Zach and his just perfectly executed race, because a different year he's gonna win. So but at the same time, it adds to just the gratefulness and how a sense of accomplishment it adds to my own race, and to your own performance.
To be able to beat Zach on such a day like that is not many people are going to do it, and it takes a special race out of myself and able to beat Zach on his perfect day. You are now or maybe it wasn't perfect. Maybe he's got more too.
You take the lead in UTMB late in the race. You're now in a position that you have thought long and hard about. Did you start thinking about big picture, the finish line, the win, or were you living in the moment of just frickin' stay in the lead here?
One of the most pet peeve things, and I knew I was in an okay mindset because it wasn't getting under my skin so much, but it was definitely standing out that so many people in Triant and between Triant and Valersine, way early, going, congratulations, you got this. And then I was talking with some friends today of look, people still got to remember, I'm the missed turn guy at Western States 2000. Anything can happen, plus the times I've fallen apart, please. And all the way up.
Please don't jinx me.
We're on the ski slope of La Flégère, and people are congrats and this and that. I don't know the splits behind me necessarily yet.
Yeah.
I'm still saying, not yet, not yet. And then on the descent, so I didn't have any falls, but plenty of stumbles and toe catches, but an exceptional number of toe catches on the last descent.
Okay.
And just and just don't count it yet.
Until you're actually at the finish line.
I think this one I knew I ran well enough up and down that it would take an exceptional acceleration to gain the time that they needed back. So by the bottom, I knew I was going to get a time split, and I knew whether I'd be telling the crowd to completely get out of the way. But finally, I wasn't chased by Pau Capel this year. I wasn't chased by Zach Miller. I feel like I've never truly gotten to enjoy, but I also know with the tunnel of high fives, it starts about at least a mile out from the finish. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to run through so sometimes I was having to say I can't, I need to get closer before I start really slowing down and enjoying it.
What did it feel like to come across the finish line as the first finisher of this event after reaching for that spot for so long?
I don't know. Yeah, it just feels more like a dream than it actually happening, and now it's a memory, so it still feels like a dream. So I just feel more present here, and kind of look forward to still just moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, after my Western States wins, I'd always just disappear in the San Juan, so out of service. So it's not as easy, and everywhere has self-service here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, maybe I need to enjoy it and savor it a little more. But I prefer to just turn the page onto the next objective, but then it goes to, even career-wise, I need to kind of start defining the next objectives and goals and stuff. So I don't know. I say you always have to kind of evolve as a person and athlete, and goal orientation and where you want it. What's going to motivate you to train hard? Because if you're not going to put in the work and train hard, then there's a lot of guys doing that are going to take those spots ahead of you then.
Enjoy turning the page to whatever is next for you. And
maybe we'll try to turn the page at the end of the week, I think.
Yeah. And congratulations on your win of the 2023 UTMB. I hope that feels good.
Thank you so much. Yes, it definitely feels good, but it's all getting soaked in still, so it's pretty incredible.
Congrats.
Thanks.